Come, weary viewers, and sit by my fire, and welcome to the third episode of Shamanvisions. I'm your host, the Cinematic Shaman. This is a series about the various dreams and visions I've had and made into stories for your entertainment. This episode promises to be quite eerie, as it resonates deeply with the current state of the world. It draws inspiration from a vivid dream I experienced, one that was particularly intense. If you are sensitive to themes involving the biblical, the supernatural, or the occult, I recommend you exit this video now. Perhaps check out another one of my videos instead. Alright, I'll count down. 3, 2, and 1. Now that those pussies are gone, let's wreck your dreams with my nightmare. I found myself at the old Chevron I used to go to in my hometown. As I approached the entrance, I prepared to follow my usual routine, purchasing a liter of Coca-Cola, a Slim Jim, and one of those delicious Hostess chocolate donuts. Things looked fairly normal until I noticed people at the gas pumps looking up at the sky, and I noticed something odd. I stepped outside and was immediately struck by a breathtaking sight. A massive cloud formation resembling a golden door. While those around me were captivated in awe, I felt an unsettling sense of dread washing over me. Surely this couldn't be a good omen, could it? Just as I began to ponder the significance of the golden door, a hooded figure suddenly seized me and pulled me away. I fought to free myself, shouting, "Hey, hands off me!" After moving away from the crowd, the man finally let go of me. "I apologize. I just needed to get you away from the crowd. We're all in danger," he explained urgently. "Do tell," I urged. He then revealed that this was a sign of the end times. The door to the heavens is no gateway to salvation. It is the harbinger of divine wrath. When it swings wide, the day side of the world will be consumed in inferno beyond mortal comprehension. The very air will burn, and the land will be scorched clean by a fire so fiercely it will leave nothing but ash where empires once stood. But it is the night that bears the crueler fate. In the darkness, the sky will come alive with the beating of wings, wings adorned with golden, unblinking eyes that see into the very soul. The earth itself will tremble beneath the march of titanic beings, their steps shaking the foundations of the world. And woe to those who cannot flee, for they will be caught in grasping hands and fed to rows of jagged, piked-like teeth. The night will belong to them, an endless host of the angels of death, descending like a plague upon the living. Their hunger is boundless, their purpose singular. They will not rest. They will not reason. They will not falter until the last breath of life is smothered from the earth. The vivid images began to fade from my mind as the man explained everything. After allowing the information to sink in, I frantically asked, "There has to be a way to stop this. We can't let it happen. I shivered, in fear, of course. As the hooded man placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder, he replied, "There is a way, and that is why we, the Magi, must band together. We will find the answer in the Well of Serpents. Come with me." I nodded, in my resolve strengthening, and followed him intently down the street. There was a large, rusty van opened its door, revealing a ragtag group of magi from various cultures. After hopping into the van, I took a moment to get a better look at the group. They were a strange mix, each carrying an air of mysticism that set them apart from ordinary folk. To the left sat a eerie voodoo practitioner who had his face painted in unmistakable patterns of a skull. His dark eyes flickered toward me as if weighing my soul. I quickly looked away. Don't mess with that guy. Across from him, a Hindu mystic, wearing a flowering saffron tunic, and his fingers traced unseen patterns in the air, perhaps forming a yantra I dare not interrupt. His presence was calm, steady, like a mountain standing against the winds of time. Beside him, a Nordic shaman towered. His deep blue cloak seemed woven from the night sky, silver runes faintly shimmering along the hem. The air around him carried the sharp scent of pine and cold iron. His piercing gaze held the weight of old sagas. He could commune with the spirits of the long dead. Yet what really got my attention was this beautiful young woman, nearest to me. A beautiful Latina, she wore a black and white poncho with swirling flora, embroidery, strangely animated. Delicate flowers were woven into her dark curls. When she met my gaze, a knowing spark was in her eyes, as if she already knew the conclusion of this story. I played it cool, tipping my hat in greeting. He smiled, ever so slightly, as if amused by my attempt. Hey, can you blame a guy for trying to flirt? It was at that moment I realized I was the odd man out, clad in a black cloak and a top hat. I must have resembled a vaudevillian magician who had inadvertently wandered into the wrong crowd. While the others embodied the essence of ancient traditions, I felt like a relic from a bygone era, out of place in more ways than one. Yet here I stood, part of this particular and powerful assembly. Whatever fate had conspired to bring us together, I sensed that the night ahead would be anything but ordinary. Van's engine offered a soft drone as we merged onto the highway, leaving the town lights to fade behind us. I couldn't help but steal one last look at the cluster of people still looking at the door, their expressions a blend of curiosity and naivete, utterly oblivious to the horror that lay ahead. Cold dread settled in my gut, wondering how many of them would survive this interview. Sensing my anxiety, the girl next to me gently laid her warm hand over mine. I turned, met by the calm sincerity in her deep brown eyes, which held no trace of fear. "Don't worry," she whispered, her voice a soothing contrast to the turmoil in my mind. "We still have time to stop this." Her words brought a measure of relief. I let out a breath, simply nodded. "Thanks." I didn't trust myself to say more. We drove on, swallowed by this seemingly endless highway. Time became a blur as the journey was continuing to stretch forth, and it felt like an eternity. The imposing mountains eventually gave way to a stark, open desert, parched, barren, and lifeless. The deeper we ventured, the more the surrounding world seemed to wither, as if nature itself was anticipating the coming event. A voice from the front announced our entry into the Mojave Desert. I barely registered the words, my attention fixed on a jagged, boulder-strewn hill ahead. At its base, faintly visible in the twilight, was the entrance to a cave. As we exited the van, we were met by hooded figures and Native American shamans, their hands holding out smoking bundles of sage. I looked to the first hooded man for guidance. "The blessing our journey. We must be quick, Magi," he urged before disappearing into the cave. The cave immediately enveloped us in profound darkness, the air thick with smell of earth and in antiquity. The sage bundles offered the only light a fragile ember glow, barely capable of pushing back the void. Our steps echoed in the deep. Silence as we moved forward, shadows dancing on the stone walls. Then, a subtle, pale green shimmer caught my attention just ahead. We pressed toward it, drawn by the light, until the passage opened into a vast underground chamber. There it was, the Well of Serpents. A large subterranean pond stretched before us, its water eerily still, mirroring the ghostly illumination from the bioluminescent moss coating the rocky walls. The chamber hummed with an ancient, watchful energy, as if the well itself was aware of our purpose. The hooded man stepped forward, his voice hushed and respectful. The answer we seek lies within this well. We must wander these chambers until it's revealed to us. He immediately shed his robes, letting them drop to the floor. The others followed in suit, stripping to their bare chests, their breath momentarily fogging in the cool air. I glanced to the Latina girl as she unfastened her poncho, revealing a simple black bra. My gaze lingered, perhaps a bit too long. Snap! Her fingers clicked, in front of my face. Hello? End of the world happening? I blinked and yanked back to the present. Oh, right, sorry. She gave a soft laugh, shook her head, and waded into the water with the others. I forced a deep breath, refocusing on the immediate task. The well awaited, and its secrets were about to be revealed. The cold water clung to my skin as I stepped in. The moss, faint green light, barely penetrating the surface. Then something shifted and slicked, brushed against my leg. I froze. The water rippled, and I saw them. Mojave green rattlesnakes! Their slick bodies coiling and gliding across the surface, weaving around me. My breath hitched, a cold spear of terror stabbing into my chest. The dry, sinister warning of their rattles sent a shiver down my spine. I had always been afraid of snakes, but venomous ones? That fear was primal.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Of course, I thought aloud. Panic clawing at my throat. The Well of Serpents. Of course it has snakes! My heart hammered like war drums. I forced myself to move, trudging through the water toward the others. They stood, unnervingly still, the serpents weaving among them like living shadows. No one flinched. No one seemed to notice, but I did. They were closing in. My breath became fast and ragged. My chest tightened. The water felt suffocating, pulling me under. Then I gasped, my eyes snapping open. I was in my bed. My skin was slick with sweat, my heart pounding so fiercely it arched. The lingering sound of the rattles echoed in my ears, but the room was silent. No water, no snakes, no well, just me, wide awake.